Welcome back, everybody. The excitement of the 2000 All-Star Extravaganza as the weekend underway opens it up. The home of Hank Aaron and the recognized memento outside of Turner Field. Some great stars will be on hand for the All-Star game and Hall of Famers. Oh, yeah, we got them for you. And Harold Reynolds is with one right now. Harold.
Hall of Famer. Tony, let me be one of the first ones to say congratulations. I know July 23rd, a big day for you. You start working on a speech or anything yet?
Oh, yeah, still working on it, and we got it almost ready. I think it's going to be fine.
Now, they retired your jersey in Cincinnati. It's been a big year for you, and now you're managing a bunch of these young stars. What do you see in the young kids today as opposed to everywhere else?
Well, everything been so good for me in 2000. I mean, well, like you say, in Cincinnati, I retired my number. Now this here, you know, to keep managing these kids, and then July 23rd. This been some kind of year for me and my family.
And what about the class of guys that you're going in with? Friends of yours, and you've got a chance to be around quite a long time.
Well, it be a special day. I mean, go with Carlton Fick and Sparky Anderson or Marty Bretterman. I tell you, as some people who you know and you play with and you spend time with during your career, you have to be very proud to go with them.
All right, well, long-time baseball man. He waited a long time to go in the Hall, but definitely deserving. Back to you guys.
Harold Reynolds will be joining us throughout the Futures game down at field level. And let's take a look at the starting lineup for Team World. And that, of course, is going to be the ball club Tony Perez will be managing here today. Alex Escobar leading it off in center field. Felipe Lopez, the shortstop. Carlos Peña will be at first base. Julio Zuleta is the designated hitter. Chen Feng Chen will be in left field. Jackson Millian in right field. Travis Williams starts at second. Jose Leon is at third base. And doing the catching will be Miguel Oliva. We'll tell you about each of these players as they make an appearance, the organizations they are with. Mark Martinez and Peter Gammons upstairs with me here. And Peter, pitching always matters. Here's one who's going to matter.
Well, he's a monster. You know, 6'11", Ryan Anderson. He was the Mariners' first draft choice in '97, and great stuff. Great fastball. It's, you know, he's really come a lot faster than, say, Randy Johnson did at a comparable age. But it's really interesting. Right-handers are hitting 240 points lower than left-handers. I asked him, what's their problem with left-handers? He said, Mr. Gammons, I never faced a left-handed batter in high school.
And the ones he's facing in pro ball are pretty tough, so he's got to learn and make an adjustment there. Defensively, you got a couple of center fielders. Vernon Wells of the Blue Jays is on the left. He's a great center fielder, and so is Corey Patterson from the Cubs. He's in center. Josh Hamilton is in right. Sean Burroughs, a lot of people remember him from the Little League World Series for Long Beach. He's at third base, and a lot of good young gloves out there in the field.
And we are underway in our Futures game. 9 innings worth. The Team USA and Team World competitors. Alex Escobar leading it off. He is the center fielder. And Anderson's pitch to him is outside. Escobar, the New York Mets organization, they have great hopes. This man's going to be there very shortly, playing Double-A ball at Binghamton right now. That one drilled in the air to center field. Patterson with plenty of room out there. 400 to dead center, puts it away. Escobar is retired. One out in a hurry. This is a great chance for these players. I mean, this is full exposure. Some have been here before. A few have been to the major leagues for a cup of coffee, but this game matters to them. A lot of people in baseball are watching.
Well, absolutely. What you have is, I mean, you have a lot of the scouting directors. There aren't many general managers here because they don't happen to feel the All-Star game is a very good time to make deals. But they're all watching. They're watching these kids, and it's their first chance to really get on a national stage.
Here's Felipe Lopez, Double-A ball at Tennessee in the Blue Jays organization. He makes the start at shortstop today. And the big left-hander, Anderson, 1 ball, 1 strike count on him.
Well, Buck, you've seen a lot of Lopez in the spring. I've had people tell me they think he's the best shortstop prospect in the minor leagues.
Well, there are a lot of good middle infielders in the Blue Jays system, including Lopez, #1 pick. And that's one thing that you're going to get with young players, that inability to judge balls from strikes, but the enthusiasm is remarkable. And Lopez is a switch hitter, and he's got a little pop for a shortstop. You wouldn't expect him to be able to drive the ball as effectively as he has.
Only 19 years old, and he'll pump that one back. 8th overall pick in the '98 draft out of Puerto Rico. middle infielders in this day and age in baseball obviously have really come of age in the game. The numbers in the American League, it's the great talented shortstop, and in the National League it's that great depth at second base in the middle infield. 1-2 delivery, and that one's taken up high. As you might expect with a pitcher, Ryan Anderson in control is a problem. When you've got a guy this big, Peter, trying to find release points and a steady delivery is something you really have to work on.
Well, it is, but you have to remember that Randy Johnson was in his first year in A-ball at this age and at a comparable time in his baseball career. So Ryan Anderson's development has been remarkable. He's really grown up a lot. He's taken to instruction very well. It's just a matter of working out certain things in his delivery. But last year he had a lot of times when he would throw 94 at one pitch and about 87 at the next. He smoothed that out a great deal this year.
And he gets the strike. And Lopez is retired. Anderson the K.
Well, I think Ryan Anderson has the advantage that everybody knows that when Randy Johnson learned his mechanics and his delivery, that's when he really became a great pitcher. So Anderson can address those things early on in his career.
And it looks like the career he's going to have is going to be something else. If you're looking for competitiveness, and all the scouts always do when you're looking at minor league players, you talk to any scout about Anderson and they'll tell you, hoo-hoo, you got competitiveness and a good deal of cockiness. Carlos Peña. 2 down, nobody on. Peña starting at first base, and he rips it to right field. 390 in the alley, way back and looking, and off the top of the wall. Goodbye home run. He will not forget it. From the New York Texas Ranger organization, Carlos Peña, first baseman, delivers a shot to right.
Well, there's the left-handed problem, but I'll tell you, Carlos Peña he moved from the Dominican Republic to Haverhill, Massachusetts when he was 15 years old. Within 6 years, had a 3.7 in engineering at Northeastern University, and he is going to be their first baseman in 2 years as Rafael Palmeiro moves over. Great swing.
Boy, no intimidation whatsoever. Left-hander against left-hander, and Peña really jumps on that first pitch fastball he sees, and boy, if that's not a beautiful home run swing.
Carlos Peña hitting .297 with 18 home runs at minor league ball, gets one in the Futures game. Right off the yellow marker that is the demarcation line for homers here at Turner Field. Off and into the seats, and a 1-0 lead. Zuleta fouls it back into the screen. Julio Zuleta with the Cubs organization, designated hitter in today's game. There's the home run hitter. You don't think his heart's beating a little fast? I don't care how much baseball he's played.
His nickname in Tulsa is El Presidente, because we all kid. Anybody who meets him, you say this guy could be president of the United States.
Up high, 1-2 strike count on Zuleta.
He keeps hitting home runs like that, he won't have to be.
That's right.
He'd make a lot more money.
He'll learn a heck of a lot more than the president of any country. And measured that one at 375 off the wall out there. Zuleta takes the breaking ball inside. Julio Zuleta has worked a couple levels this season at the minor leagues. Iowa AAA. 324, the 15 homers and 56 RBIs. 2-2 delivery, and Anderson gets the high strike called. So Ryan Anderson gets a couple of strikeouts here in the first inning, but with 2 down, Carlos Peña delivered one off Anderson. This is how it looked from the mass cam behind the plate as this one left the yard.
All right, welcome back to the Futures game. World leads 1-0 at the end of the top of one. I'm standing here with the manager, Mr. Jim Rice. Jim, you were not away from the Red Sox today. What's going on?
Well, I was chosen to be the manager of the game today, and the Red Sox agreed that I could take a couple of days off to come down and do this, and I chose to come down.
Well, you were talking earlier. We got a chance to talk about hitting and how you like working with the young players. You got a chance to work with any of these kids, and what have you seen in them?
No, mainly I talked to the coaches. You have a better repertoire with the coaches because the coaches are going to be working with the kids. They have an idea what they want to do. And the thing that I try to emphasize on is that you got to be able to deal with individuals. You can't tell everyone to swing the same way, so you got to work with individuals.
Okay, well, guy I'm lobbying for to be in the Hall of Fame soon, Mr. Jim Rice. Back to you guys up top.
Okay, Earl, thanks very much. Let's take a look at the lineup for Jim Rice's Team USA. Vernon Wells with the Jays, Corey Patterson the Cubs, Marcus Giles the Braves, Drew Henson with the Yankees, Eric Munson of the Tigers, Sean Burroughs of the Padres, Josh Hamilton of the Devil Rays, Ben Petrick of the Rockies, and Travis Gookie Dawkins in the Reds organization.
Sure? Because we might be blocking somebody behind
21-year-old Sun Kim. Pawtucket, AAA ball. Those are the numbers he has this year with that 8.2 mark. ERA 5.12. Peter, a little high, surprising.
Yeah, he has struggled a little bit the last month. He's got a hard sinker. He's got terrific stuff. In fact, in spring training, the Red Sox really thought that he might be the #3 starter come late July or early August. You know, he's still in the learning stage, and so that development has gone backwards, and a kid named Paxton Crawford's moved in front of him, but they still think he's going to be a really good pitcher for them in time. He's got electric stuff.
22-year-old out of Korea. Breaking ball. Vernon Wells swings and misses, the starting left fielder for Team USA.
The reason he signed with Boston was he played in Fenway Park in World Junior Championships a few years ago. He so liked it, took a whole bunch of dirt off the Fenway Park mound, went home, and that was the one team he always wanted to play for.
And the pop-up third base side will be Leon coming in to put it away. One down.
Now let's take a look at the World defense in the outfield. Chen Escobar and Jackson Milian in right field. Leon Lopez, Wilson, and Peña. Wilson's an interesting story. He is a former softball player from New Zealand. Only started playing baseball about 4 years ago, and he is a natural second baseman. They had him at third base for a while, but because of his reactions in the fast pitch softball game, they feel like he could have played third.
Corey Patterson takes the pitch inside. Patterson, an outfielder in the Chicago Cubs organization, third overall pick in the '98 draft at AA ball.
Don Baylor has asked that he come up in the second half of the season so we can get to start to see him take over the center field reins in Wrigley Field.
Chen is there and puts it away, and Corey Patterson is retired. 2 down as Kim gets the first 2 outs in a hurry. 2 away, bases empty, and Marcus Giles coming to the plate.
Number 22, Marcus
Giles in the Atlanta Braves organization, so the Braves fans on hand here, recognizing the name of this young second baseman, give him a hand as he stands in.
He resembles his brother Brian so much. First time he ever walked up to me in spring training, I went, whoa.
Well, he's got the same kind of power as well, Peter. You see his numbers in Double-A, 11 homers and 39 RBIs. He's a power prospect.
Same great makeup too.
Yeah.
I mean, just plays hard all the time.
He has won a couple of MVP honors at the minor league level, 2 consecutive in fact, and lifts that one to center field. Escobar going back 400 to the wall, takes a hop off the base of it and into second base. Marcus Giles with a stand-up double to deep center field.
And don't you know that he is running around first base thinking, yeah, I belong here. This is my ballpark. And maybe in a year or so, Marcus Giles will be the everyday second baseman for the Braves. He jumps all over this pitch, down on the inside half of the plate, and rips it over the head of Escobar in center. Boy, he's got a beautiful swing, much like his brother from the left side, and he drives it one hop off the wall in center.
Got to say this, though. I was really impressed by the first step of Escobar. I mean, he turned, went back on that ball remarkably. You don't see that a lot in young outfielders.
Could not get to that one no matter how fast. 2 down, and the designated hitter, Drew Henson. About as much publicity has been given Henson as probably anybody we're going to talk about today. Part of that because he's in the Yankee organization.
And he's quarterback at University of Michigan. He was in that Juan Gonzalez trade because he's from Detroit. But he told me that George Steinbrenner told him, look, if you'll forget about going back to Michigan and playing football, I'll take you out of that deal right now. But the feeling among NFL scouts is that he and Carson Palmer at UCLA are the two best quarterback prospects in this year's junior class. He could end up a top 10 guy in the NFL draft.
Amazing, huh? Tells you the great athlete that he is, and big. I mean, capital letters, big power, good arm. But this is a power hitter. 1-1 delivery to Henson. A breaking ball from Kim is taken down low, and a 2-ball, 1-strike count. third baseman, position that he plays. Drafted in '98.
In 22 days, he starts football practice too.
Amazing. 2-1 count, runner at second base. And hit hard to third. Leon there got it on the fly, and that'll do it. So Henson hits it hard, but he's out of there. No runs, a base hit. Runner left on at second for Team USA. And after one inning in our futures game, that line drive ends the USA's chance. World 1, USA nothing. Welcome back, everybody, in Atlanta. Great to have you with us for our futures game, coming to you live from Turner Field, site of the 2000 All-Star event. This man is already here.
Well, he was in this game last year at A-ball, and has become such a force for the Braves. He's been injured, but he'll be back. He's a key guy for them in September and presumably October. Great speed, great arm, wonderful enthusiasm.
304 average, 12 steals, 57 games played for the Atlanta Braves, and a member of the futures game last season, and certainly a Rookie of the Year candidate in the National League this year. New pitcher is going to be Ben Sheets on the mound in the Brewers organization. We'll have these pitchers working generally just one inning. Sheets is playing at Indianapolis AAA ball, 22-year-old right-hander.
He was their #1 pick a couple of years ago. Good power arm, hard slider. He'd probably be up in September were it not the fact that they don't have to protect him and put him on the 40-man roster, so he probably won't come up till next year.
Out of Taiwan, Ching-Fen Chang didn't have much to do there. Sheets struck him out. Bill Pito on games going on. Bill.
Right fielder, number 27, Jackson Mannion.
So the Blue Jays having a spectacular first half heading to the All-Star break. Buck Martinez.
Frank Castillo on the verge of winning his 5th game in his last 7 starts. He has really been a complimentary pitcher to David Wells.
Double-A player. Jackson Mannion fouls that one back. Yankees organization out of Venezuela.
And much sought after in the Sammy Sosa deal by the Cubs. He was one of the largest bonus boys ever to come out of Venezuela. And pretty good all-around tools guy.
Only 20 years old. Munson will make the play at first base, and he's retired. 2 down. 2 away, second inning.
Second baseman,
Ben Sheets trying to get through it. 1, 2, 3.
Travis Wilson.
Jackson Mannion retired. They are wearing, obviously, World and USA jerseys. The caps, however, are caps of their major league organizations. Travis Wilson, the batter. First ball hitting to right field. Hamilton coming on and will not have a play, and it's a fair ball. It'll be a base hit. Bermuda Triangle right there for Wilson. He went after the first pitch and picks up the single. He too is with the Braves organization.
Now, Wilson is the fellow we talked about that played softball professionally in New Zealand, and that was his only avenue toward baseball. And he was playing in an amateur tournament in Michigan, and he was picked up by a scout of the Braves, and then he went to Australia for a tryout, and he has really made the adjustment. Remember, this is the first time he's ever had a wood bat. He played softball with an aluminum bat. He's really improved quickly.
A big change.
Some of the Braves people were telling me this guy hits sidearmers better than anybody we've ever seen. You know, maybe they could use him in the playoffs if they play Arizona and get Belmont Kim. But it's pretty obvious. I mean, that's the way the ball comes out. He's always faced guys throwing 1/4.
Broken bat, Jose Leon. That's going to fall towards third, and there'll be no play for Burroughs. So Jose Leon is on. Travis Wilson goes down to second base. 2 on, 2 down.
I think Ben Sheets got fooled by this pitch. It comes back at him like a changeup, plus the fact he's got to deal with the barrel. He throws a changeup, and you can see he jams the hitter, Leon, and the ball comes back right to the mound. It goes off of Sheets' glove. Watch the reaction of the pitcher. He kind of reaches for the ball early. It's not there yet. It's not hit as sharply as he thought it was. Sean Burroughs comes over, and he doesn't have a play.
I mean, I'm trying to.
They will credit him with a base hit on that, putting runners on at first and second. Team World now with their third hit. 2 on and 2 down. And the catcher, Miguel Olivo. He's with the A's organization, playing a Double-A ball in Midland.
Well, he was a #1 prospect in 2 leagues, starting in the Arizona League when he first signed. Another one of the A's many Dominican prospects, and he's got some power. But the biggest thing about this guy, Buck, is he's supposed to have just a great arm, an 8 arm.
Well, anybody that can catch and throw nowadays are going to be fast-tracked to the big leagues.
Bounced away behind the plate. Petrick there to knock it away.
Of course, the A's already have Ramon Hernandez as one of the best young catchers in the American League.
Well, you can't have too many catchers, that's for sure, because they become valuable chips when you need to make a deal and go out and trade somebody. And of course, the Mariners right now looking for catching help with 2 of theirs down on the DL.
Another broken bat, soft liner to second. Giles has it, and Olivo is retired. No runs, 2 hits, 2 are left on. We go to the bottom of the second with Team USA coming up, trailing 1-0. A 1-0 lead for Team World over Team USA in our futures game, and we want to remind you the field is filling up this year's Century 21 Home Run Derby. Carlos Delgado, Kyle Everett, Pudge Rodriguez, Vladimir Guerrero, Chipper Jones, Sammy Sosa, Mr. Griffey Jr. They've all confirmed. Derby comes your way live from Turner Field in Atlanta tomorrow night at 8, followed by the Celebrity Hitting Challenge at 10. Harold Reynolds was involved in that one, double duty, hitting and announcing. Well, announcing. Dave Winfield, Andre Dawson, and Bob Horner all involved. Boy, Harold's had a tough weekend already. We've been all over him. Minor league umpires working today's game as well for Major League Baseball, and Munson fouls the pitch back. Aaron Myatt is on the mound now for Kim.
Well, he's a big, hard thrower for British Columbia and the White Sox organization. He broke his hand at the end of spring training, which set him back a little bit, but he's a power guy, hard sinker, pitches in really well. Great makeup.
Peter, the White Sox probably more than anybody have impact pitchers in their minor leagues that can come up and really add to their second half hopes of going into the playoffs. They already called up John Garland, Myatt here on the World team, and Mark Buehrle on the U.S. team. A couple of minor leaguers that might have an impact in the pennant race.
I asked the general manager who's looking to make some moves to get younger players. You know, name me the 3 best teams, organizations as far as pitching in the minor leagues. He said the White Sox, and the White Sox.
Well, you got to like that with the season they've already had this year to be able to add to it. Strike 3 and a swinging strike gets away, and the throw is going to go into right field. It'll stay close enough so that Munson cannot advance.
As I said, he does have a strong arm.
Whoa, going to hurt somebody.
Well, he lost his footing a little bit when he got to the warning track behind home plate, and just as he was ready to throw, he slipped with his right foot. So Munson chases a high fastball. He reaches base on the wild pitch.
Myatt is on the mound after watching that one go away. Thought that one was going to go into right field a long way, but bounced and died. So Munson had to stay. Sean Burroughs coming up now. The runner at first, yet another one of these left-handed hitters. And that one up the middle for a base hit for Sean Burroughs. Played back in by Escobar, and Team USA with nobody out here in the second inning. Runners at first and second.
That's quite a...
And Jeff Burroughs is on hand with Harold Reynolds. Harold.
Not just Jeff Burroughs, the MVP, you know, but he's got an MVP son too. You know, you said you haven't seen him since spring training. He comes up, gets a base hit. What are you watching when you watch him play?
Well, I haven't seen him there against in spring training, so I just kind of like looking at his swing and see if he's doing the things that we've been talking about. But he's got a real good batting instructor in Roy Howell down there in Mobile and Double-A ball, so they've been working together real closely, and looks like it's improving. He's gaining the much-needed experience.
Well, that Little League experience back in Long Beach, how exciting was that for you? I know how much it was for him, and it's really made a name for him. But back to those days, you said you worked with him an awful lot. Was that a big experience for you?
To me, it was the greatest baseball experience I ever had. That '92, and then coming back and winning the World Series again in '93. It's never ever been done before, and we were the first one to do it. But it was just a real pleasure working with just a tremendous group of 11 and 12-year-old kids, and watch them play as efficiently as they learned how to play. That was real thrilling.
All right, well, Gary Thorne, I'm going to send it back up to you. I know you know this man was an MVP because you watched him a lot.
Yes, sir. Base hit up the middle by Josh Hamilton, and the bases are loaded as Hamilton delivers. Nobody out. Aaron Myatt in trouble here in the second inning with 3 on.
14 months ago, Josh Hamilton was still in high school in North Carolina. This kid, talk about special players.
18 years old. Man.
Tremendous talent.
First overall pick in the '99 draft and could be a pitcher. He's that good. He's an outstanding hitter. He is an outstanding pitcher. I talked to one scout who said, are we looking at a two-way player? Maybe.
That's what they thought about John Olerud when he came out of Washington State, the possibility of being a pitcher and a hitter, but it's so difficult to do one or the other on a successful level.
So the base is loaded, nobody out. And Ben Petrie got the plate with the Colorado Rockies. He has seen some time at the major league level. Back at AAA this year for the 23-year-old. Working behind the plate starting this game.
He's a good offensive catcher. Gus can run a little bit.
Right field corner. Jackson back. Warning track makes the catch. Munson will tag up and score. Burroughs goes over to third. And they've tied it up at 1-1. Let's check on Major League Baseball action with Bill Pito. Bill.
The shortstop, number 9, Travis Dawkins.
One of the many battles for bragging rights. Interstate, intercity games that are going on in interleague play here in our second session of interleague play for the 2000 season. Travis "Gookie" Dawkins, Cincinnati Reds organization at shortstop, fouls it back. First and third, 1 down, game tied at 1 now.
He struggled a little bit offensively this year, but the Reds think it's because he's been playing second base and trying to adjust to that. I mean, he had such a rise last year when he was a hero on Team USA and when they were able to qualify for the Olympics. But you know, the figuring is, if Barry Larkin leaves at the end of this year, well, they want Pokey Reese playing shortstop and Gookie Dawkins playing second.
He is just 20 years old. Very soft hands. Good base stealer. Big numbers at Chattanooga, AA ball where he is right now. 7 at bats in his call up last year with the Cincinnati Reds. 1-1 Dawkins. First and third. That one towards third. Runner going. They'll try for 2. Wilson the relay. And pulled him off the bag. So Dawkins will reach on the fielder's choice. Sean Burroughs will score the second run for Team USA, and USA has got a 2-1 lead. RBI credited to Dawkins.
Now this looked like it was a routine double play ball hit to the third baseman, and Leon gets it to Travis Wilson, but you see Wilson looked to be distracted a little bit by the base runner. Josh Hamilton bearing down on him, and watch how he comes in hard, and Travis Wilson maybe concentrating more on the base runner than to throw to first base. He is wide of the mark at first, and Dawkins is safe.
How many times in New Zealand did you ever see a guy with size 19 feet coming down at you at second base? Then later we'll have to get a shot of his feet.
Didn't matter what country or continent you were in.
You could hear him.
Covered about 4 continents and 19 countries. Vernon Wells of the Blue Jays, second time up, popped out to third his first time up. Myatt's pitch goes all the way to the backstop. And that'll move Dawkins down to second base. The lone base runner on right now with 2 runs in here in the second inning.
Yeah, this is a difficult aspect of any kind of all-star game, is the fact that you've got a catcher there that doesn't know the pitcher that well. Myatt's ball seems to be running all over the place, and this goes off of Eagles' glove. Peter, you'll remember the all-star game out in Dodger Stadium when Dave Steve was pitching to Darryl Porter and really handcuffed him with that great sinking fastball, and it was a nightmare for Porter, who had not seen Steve before.
Vernon Wells at the plate. First round pick, 97. Blue Jays outfielder of the future. Takes it inside. Buck, I had someone say to me about this Vernon Wells. The question was, outfielder, but where? Is he speedy enough for center, and does he have power enough to play the corners?
Yeah, he's speedy enough for center for sure. Last year, the first time he touched the ball in the big leagues, he threw out a runner at second base. He went to the gap and made a perfect throw to second. He's a very good center fielder.
3-0 count on him. Went after one up high, popped it up. Olivo back. And will not have a play. Souvenir on that one.
I've had somebody I really respect, who really knows outfielders, said to me, and watched him a lot, and he thought after Griffey, Andrew Jones, and Jim Edmonds, he had the best first step to the ball of any center fielder in the game.
Yeah, he's very quick, and he's got real good instincts, and he gets a great jump, as you mentioned, Peter. And I think the biggest thing, he was probably a little disappointed when he got demoted this year. He was in a battle with Jose Cruz Jr. for that center fielder's job, and Cruz won out initially. And of course, now Cruz has 20 home runs at the break.
Well, Vernon admits that. You know, he's a good kid.
That one lifted hard. What a stop. Lopez throw to first. Major league play in a Futures game.
Wow.
Felipe Lopez of the Blue Jays organization with a sparkling defensive play at short to retire Vernon Wells.
Back in Atlanta, USA leads the world 2-1. We're going to the top of the third inning, and Felipe Lopez, first round pick of the Blue Jays at 98, makes a great play in the hole. Watch how quickly he gets to his feet, fires a rocket across the diamond to get the Blue Jays #1 pick of 97, Vernon Wells. And Peter, he has got a lot of skills, and he's a switch hitter to boot.
Well, absolutely. The comparison that you always hear is that he's a little bit rougher Derek Jeter, which is not a bad comparison.
Alex Escobar at the top of the order for the world team. He flied out to center field his first time up. CC Sabathia is on the mound.
Well, this guy is a monster. 6'7", about 240 pounds, and a great athlete.
Another big left-hander.
19 years old.
Going to be big when he grows up, huh?
Jeez.
Looks like Bob Veal in some ways.
Sure does.
Pitching a double-A ball, turned that one over, down and away. Brad Wilkinson has come in the ball game to play in left field. Wilkinson in. 1-2 delivery.
Pretty good spot with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
He can throw the fastball and has a magnificent curveball. And he got him. Escobar goes down swinging.
Well, a couple of the coaches for Team USA were talking about Sabathia, and said, well, this guy obviously isn't a finesse pitcher. And Gary Varsho from Reading said, I'm telling you something, this guy is such a great athlete. He's got such good breaking ball besides the heat. He's got finesse to go with that 95-mile-an-hour.
It's got to be a tremendous temptation for the Indians to take a look at him.
I think the lesson of Jarrett Wright has taught them maybe it's not a good idea to be rushing young pitchers.
You're gonna get mad. It's a microphone.
Lopez, first ball hitting the other way into right field for a base hit. Felipe Lopez, who made that fine play at short, delivers a one-out single, fourth hit for Team World.
First baseman.
That'll bring up Carlos Peña.
Carlos staying right in on Ryan Anderson. We talked a little bit in the opening about Ryan Anderson having so little experience facing left-handed hitters. For Carlos, it's pretty good. Ryan Anderson, CC Sabathia. We'll find out whether he hangs in against left-handers.
If you can hang in on this guy without getting your foot into the other dugout, congratulations. The sweeping motion like a Randy Johnson right on top of you because of his size. Off-speed pitch away, 1-0 to Peña.
Peña looks a little bit like Bobby Abreu when he steps into the box, his hands high above his shoulder, and he stays fairly square and parallel to the pitcher. Doesn't seem to want to yield at all to these left-handers.
1-0 delivery, runner at first base, another off-speed breaking ball, and a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
The one thing that Carlos needs to do, he made a tremendous improvement this year on taking pitches and improving the walk-strikeout ratio. He still needs, and he's talked about this a lot, he needs to learn to go the other way a little bit more. He gets into habits where he tries to pull the ball, but he's still very young. Second full season of professional baseball, and he was actually a 20-year-old junior in college, so he was a year ahead of himself.
Well, you talk to big league hitters nowadays, and every one of them will tell you, if you can't drive the ball the other way and hit off-speed pitches, you can't have a lot of success in the major leagues now.
Look what's happened to Russell Brandon since he learned to hit some balls the other way. He hit a ball in the left field corner the other night, I couldn't believe.
Peña held up on the heater that time in a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Although he was born in the Dominican Republic, Massachusetts is where he spent growing up time, in Haverhill, Mass, outside of Boston, Northeastern University in downtown Boston. So well acclimated here in the USA. And that one fouled back. 2-ball, 2-strike count on Peña.
Now, Carlos came over at 15, spoke no English, never took English as a second language, just learned everything, and 6 years later he had a 3.7 in engineering at Northeastern. He's a pretty remarkable guy.
Well, it's such an asset for a Latin player to learn English, and Pedro Martinez talks about it all the time, how much it helps him, where he can explain how he feels when things aren't going well. I mean, everybody feels great when you're on top of your game, but he really thinks that speaking English helped him an awful lot.
It's got to. There, runner goes. Throw's going to be a one-hopper by Petrick. Not in time. A stolen base for Felipe Lopez.
I think Petrick got surprised a little bit, Gary. I think he was flat-footed, and Lopez takes off. He gets a decent jump against Sabathia, and look at the throw. Tried to get too much on it. Maybe trying to make an impression and throw a Pudge Rodriguez kind of throw down there, but steered it right into the dirt.
Lopez, 8 stolen bases, caught 9 times in the minors. Picks up a stolen base there, scoring position. 2-1, Team USA on top here. And that'll be a walk. So Sabathia has struck out 1, walked 1, and given up a hit in the 3 hitters faced so far in the 3rd inning. That'll put runners at first and second for the designated hitter. Jim Rice from the Boston Red Sox managing Team USA today. Managing here in this game has a lot to do with watching.
And he said he talked an awful lot to the coaches on his team who are actually minor league managers who see these young players firsthand.
Julio Zoleta, runners at first and second base and 1 down, and off the fists outside of first. Munson, no play. Strike 1.
Well, Zoleta got a call early in April when Mark Grace was down and got a chance to come up and play in the big leagues with the Cubs, and here he goes deep. So you know he's got some power. Goes the other way as well, down the right field line at Fenway. He was impressive in batting practice today.
Saw some pops in batting practice. There are some power hitters here in this Futures game. See the 13 game numbers with the Cubs. Home run, 4 RBIs, 11 Ks. He led all of the Cub minor leaguers with a .331 average and 106 RBIs 2 years ago. Converted catcher. Take a look at Turner Field, site of the 2000 All-Star game, and our Futures game here. Foul back. 2-ball, 2-strike count on Zoleta. It's a real tough time for the pitchers to make any kind of a mark because everybody wants to get a chance to play, so the pitchers get to work generally just 1 inning. And most of these guys are starters, so they come out here used to going deep into a ball game, knowing they're only going to get 1 inning and just try and air it out, which may not be the best thing for them as far as performance is concerned. Zoleta goes down swinging. 2 Ks. Sabathia.
Left fielder, number 52.
Looks back. So what was that?
It was another high fastball, and Sabathia's got a great fastball, and we have seen him get the breaking ball over a couple of times in this inning, so the hitters have a tendency to have that in the back of their mind, and when you do that, you're behind the heat.
Not bad when you're that young and have a really good curveball to go with a hard fastball. Shannon's going to pick up the base hit. Chen Fang Chang delivers the RBI single. And that ties the ball game up at 2-2. Felipe Lopez scores from second base. Second run in for the World.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're seeing Cubs have quite a few players. I mean, Chang, they have Zoleta. Corey Patterson's one of the best prospects in baseball, pitching-wise, with Farnsworth and Zamora, who throws about 98 miles an hour, who's now in AAA. Ben Christensen from Wichita State, who's had a Bafo first full year. I mean, Cubs have a lot more in that organization than a lot of people realize.
Jackson Million, New York Yankees organization. 245 at the minors, 7 home runs, 35 RBIs, 17 stolen bases so far, and caught only once. He's got runners at first and second base with 2 down. There's that breaking ball. Strike 2.
The comparison I get a lot on Melian is of Darren Jackson, and not to be a broadcaster for the White Sox, but to be as a player, good all-around player. I think some question about exactly how much he's going to hit for power, but if he could be as good a major league player as Darren Jackson was, that's pretty good.
Melian waiting. Swings over that one, and he's gone. So Sabathia struck out the side, but in between, RBI single picked up by Chen has tied this game up at 2-2. Welcome back, as this one is now tied at 2-2. World and USA in our futures game. 2-5-0 for the World, 2-3-0. Do you get excited? You got to believe it. Gary Jones coaches at Pawtucket. He's on the base paths. Listen up.
Come on, let's go. Come on, 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 come on. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go.
If it's in you, you can't get rid of it. Doesn't matter what the game is or where it's played. You let it rip. Team World coach with the Pawtucket Red Sox. The Red Sox AAA team. First season with Pawtucket, 9 seasons in the A's system as both the manager and coach. With Buck Martinez, Peter Gammons, Harold Reynolds down at the field. Gary Thorne here in our part of the All-Star festivities here in Atlanta with our Futures Game 2000. Getting a look at some of the stars of tomorrow, some of whom have had a cup of coffee already at the major league level. Most still waiting. Corey Patterson hitting second in the lineup, goes after that one off Brad Thomas's pitching. Center field. And he's out of there. Escobar hauls it in. Patterson out on 2 fly balls and 2 at bats.
Brad Thomas is an Australian who was released by the Dodgers in 1997. He struggled until last year, started to put it together. He's won 8 games between Fort Myers and New Britain this year. A finesse guy. Proof that you never give up on left-handers.
Ever.
Well, how many left-handers are in this game? It's incredible, the quality arms, and it starts with Anderson and then Sabathia and now Brad Thomas. Quite an impressive group of young left-handers.
The overhand fastball is in for a strike. Marcus Giles delivered a double in the first inning. Took something off that pitch, missed up high. 2 balls, 1 strike. Generally seeing pitchers at
What inning is this?
the minor league level working on 1 or 2 pitches, and usually it's the off-speed pitch. Most of them come with a fastball. Hit to short. Lopez the quick throw. Nice play at first by Peña. The scouts watching intently, and Harold Reynolds is with them. Harold.
Well, you're absolutely right. Gene Bennett on my right here and Larry Burton on my left from the Cincinnati Reds organization. Gene, talk to us about the 5 tools. You know, everybody talks about he's a 5-tool player. What's that mean?
Actually, what that means is a player that can hit with power, run, field, and throw. And you know, especially when you're looking at young players, good combinations is a guy that can hit with power and run, or a guy that can run, field, and throw. Those guys are good combinations, and if you get a player like that, if he ever hits, he's going to be a super player.
Well, there are some 5-tool players in this game, and also some great pitching. Larry, you got the radar gun. You've been tracking guys. What does the radar gun tell you when you're watching pitchers?
Well, it gives you an idea of what velocity he has. It doesn't show movement, but it gives velocity. And my theory's always been on pitching. If a guy has good velocity, he can get away with a lot more mistakes in the strike zone than a guy that has below average velocity. But like I say, it's another tool we use to see how hard the velocity is.
Well, your organization is usually as good as your scouting, and the Reds got a very good organization. They got some great scouting, and this is where the game's going. They're going to continue to dig it out and find the facts and the players. Back to you guys up top.
I always love listening to scouts. If you want to hear Major League Baseball, listen to scouts talk. I mean, not only what they say, but how they say it. Foul back by Henson.
Yeah, sit around and evaluate different players, and you can really hear it early in the ballpark, early in the afternoon before a major league game, where they sit around and talk about their team and what their team needs and what their team's looking for, and they talk about the 2 teams they're scouting, and it's an interesting evaluation process. Stopwatches and radar guns, and those are 2 of the most important tools that scouts have.
Henson put that one down to third. Leon up with it. Strong throw to first base Brad Thomas has a 1-2-3 inning. We've completed 3 of our futures game. It's tied at 2. Take a look at some of the great architecture that is in exhibit here and at Turner Field in Atlanta. Talking about Joe Nuxall, the youngest guy ever to pitch in the major leagues, coming straight up now, broadcasting with Cincinnati. Henry Aaron's got a monument here as well, and Phil Niekro, whose statue is outside here, 5-time All-Star. Great names, great legends. And get to the All-Star game and you get those kind of memories coming back, and a lot of the players coming back. Hank Aaron will be part of the affair, of course, here in Atlanta, the All-Star festivities, since he's still in the front office of the Atlanta organization. Barry Zito on the mound.
He's a personal favorite.
Wilson's ground ball. He's out of there. Burroughs makes the play.
Zito's a left-hander that sometimes on the radar gun, the scouts go, oh, you know, he's not lighting it up that much. But I watched him a couple of years in the Cape League, and I haven't seen another pitcher in 15 years get as many swings and misses. He was a great pitcher at USC for 1 year. Drafted first round by the A's last year. He shot up through AAA. They'd bring him up if they could trade Omar Oliveras. It's an interesting guy. His father, Joe, was a musician. Wrote very close associate of Frank Sinatra. Wrote a lot of songs for Nat King Cole. Wrote a whole symphony for the Buffalo Symphony. Fascinating guy.
Pretty good background.
Yeah. Barry's got a bright future as well, as you mentioned. That was a good changeup. He got Leon to swing and miss.
He's got that high riding fastball, which isn't that fast, but guys don't seem to pick it up. And then he's got the changeup and curveball.
Little soft liner to short. Hauled in by Dawkins, and there are 2 down. Leon retired after having a single his first time up, 2 away here in the 4th inning. Barry Zito with a chance to go 1-2-3. Another left-hander.
Barry Zito had a good changeup to Leon, and then he comes upstairs with that riding fastball, the pitch that Peter was talking about, and he gets him to line to shortstop.
I always figured hitters don't pick him up. I mean, that's got to be the problem. They don't see it. The ball stays in his uniform a lot, and that's why he's got a little kick on it, but I mean, it's only 89, 90 miles an hour.
Now, I saw him pitch as a freshman at University of California, Santa Barbara, and you know, he was very rough at that point, but you could see he had that life on his fastball.
Who's they?
He went from there to Pierce Junior College and then went to USC his junior year. But he's got a good live arm. Tell you what, then you talk about pitching prospects, the Athletics, they're not too far behind the White Sox.
No, I mean, you've already got Tim Hudson in the big leagues as the #1 starter. You've got Mark Mulder, who's going to be, he's going through some growing pains. Of course, he pitched in this game last year, but Mulder is outstanding. Zito, and then they've got a ton of arms in the minor leagues.
Olivo with a 2-ball, 2-strike count, and down he goes. Good inning, Barry Zito.
Okay, thanks, Steve.
7th strikeout by the USA pitchers against the world so far, and Zito sets the side down in order. It remains 2-2. 2-2 game here. I thought the umpires this year have been a little more reluctant to throw guys out, even arguing balls and strikes, but right there.
That was quick.
That was quick.
Everybody needs a break.
See ya.
Yeah, we've seen the last couple of weeks, we've seen some well, the other night when Ricky Henderson got thrown out for staring at the plate for 5 seconds. He never said anything. They threw him out of the game for staring at the plate.
Ooh. Munson will lead it off. Eric Munson, who actually scored after striking out. The wild pitch put him at first base, and he came home. As Ben Petrick and Travis Dawkins have picked up the RBI for the USA team. Carlos Peña and Chin Fang Chen have had the RBIs for the world team. 2-2. And swung on and missed as we get a look at a right-hander for a change on the mound.
Well, this is the big Indians free agent signed Dennis Baez, pitched for the Cuban national team, and they've got high hopes for him. You can see the life on his fastball, but as we mentioned in the open, it's a work in progress. As you can see, his numbers aren't that impressive, but just really learning how to handle pitching to batters with wooden bats and learning the rigors of professional baseball.
Well, he was a converted outfielder, and he didn't pitch much in Cuba, so he doesn't have that style of Olivan or Osvaldo or, of course, El Duque or even Adrian Hernandez. I mean, he's a live arm, and I'm told over the winter, you know, he was sort of trying to clone himself after El Duque a little bit, and that's not his style. I mean, he's a big-time power guy, so they've sort of broken down his delivery in the minor leagues. Mike Brown, the Indians minor league pitching coordinators, has got him on the track because he's now starting to pitch really well in Double-A.
3-2 delivery, and he walked him. What he shares in common with all pitchers that come from Cuba in particular is nobody knows how old he is. 19, 20, 21, 22, who knows? We know Harold's 29. He's down there with Drew Henson right now. Harold.
Well, I know it's still baseball season, but this young man has a lot to talk about with football. Quarterbacks at Michigan. Drew, how many plays do you have in your package there anyway?
We probably got between 50 and 60, and within that we got a bunch of different ways we can run out different formations and different movements.
Well, we were talking earlier about getting a chance to play pro baseball as opposed to playing in college, and why don't you explain to them why you decided that and what the difference is with playing pro baseball every day?
Well, I decided that if everything worked out right to play pro baseball in the summertime, just because I wanted to know if I could make it a little sooner, and I wanted to develop my skills as fast as I could. And schedule-wise, it actually works out better for me to play baseball in the summertime away from Michigan. That way, when I'm there, I can concentrate on football, and when I'm away from Ann Arbor, I can concentrate on baseball.
All right, well, man, this guy's an amazing, extraordinary young man. We throw it back up to you, Gary.
Big two-time athlete right there. Obviously can play other sports as well. Burroughs grounds that one to short. Lopez Wilson relay throw is not in time.
Gary had a teammate in Toronto that was a pretty good quarterback at Michigan too, Rick Leach, and he was a very good baseball player as well. And it's a great opportunity for Drew Henson to play a little bit with the Yankees. Felipe Lopez showing off good hands this time. Underhand toss to Wilson. Looks like he's pretty deliberate around the bag at second base, and that enables Sean Burroughs to beat it out. But Lopez has got some special hands, Peter.
What a show he's put on. We're back to Henson now. His father, Dan, now works for IMG, the agents, but he was a quarterback coach. Charlie Batch, Jake Plummer, two of his proteges. He worked a lot with Chad Pennington from Marshall. He worked a lot with a couple of other guys. So, I mean, he's a quarterback expert, and obviously his son was reared to be a quarterback. Of course, how many people have sons that turned out to be about 6'4", 6'5", 220 pounds?
Foul back by Josh Hamilton, who singled his first time up. 1-1 count, one down, runner at first, game tied at 2.
Can he get his feet?
Hamilton just 18 years old. And as we said, an outstanding pitcher as well as a hitter. Athens Drive High School in Raleigh, North Carolina. Being used right now strictly as an outfielder. Chased that one away, 1-2.
Yeah, size 19 feet. You know, there are no athletic companies that make shoes that big, because if you started a new mold, it would cost between $25,000 and $50,000. So what he does, Nike's the only company that makes size 18 baseball shoes. So he gets 18 shoes and stretches them out. But those are the biggest shoes ever in baseball. Bob Lanier Jr. right there.
Boy, if you ever thought of retiring and needed a pontoon boat,
if he hits the way they think he's going to hit, they'll get the mold for a size 19 shoe.
Yeah, he'll have his own company.
That is enormous. A 2-ball, 2-strike count.
I guess it helps, you know. I mean, if you're trying to run the bases, it gives you an extra couple of feet going down the line.
Lead him by a half a shoe length, which in this case was 9 miles. 2-ball, 2-strike delivery, and Hamilton lofts that one out to left field. Chen coming. Plenty of time to get there. Hamilton's retired, and there are 2 down. Back to first base, Burroughs. I told you some of these ball players have had a chance at the major league level already. Petrick is one of those with the Colorado Rockies working behind the plate. He's already been recognized as their catcher of the future, and both at the plate and behind it, he has delivered. Offensively, the question right now more than defensively.
Well, he's in time. I mean, they think he's going to be a pretty potent offensive player. As I said, he can run a little bit. He's a very good athlete. So he's one of those guys that may be able to move around and play third base or the outfield as well as catch at times.
Got jammed. Lopez again makes that running throw. Usually in these situations, somebody ends up getting showcased. Right now, Lopez at short is that man. Tied at 2-2 in our 2000 Futures game, and a reminder, Sunday Night Baseball. Oh my, this ought to be a good one. Conclusion of the Subway Series. Yankees have won the first three, and it got interesting last night. Roger Clemens plunked Mike Piazza in the ball game at Yankee Stadium. First place Yankees, Andy Pettitte to the mound against Mike Hampton, the ace of the Mets staffs. So it's the last game before the All-Star break. John Miller, Joe Morgan, 8 Eastern time. Mets, Yankees. Bobby Valentine protesting the game at Shea. Clemens hitting Piazza in the game at Yankee Stadium as they had the day-night doubleheader at 2 different yards, of course. And the Yankees, who had been the team seemingly on the slide coming into it, aren't the team on the slide going into Game 4 of the series.
No, not at all. And they were able to get their 2 starters back. They got Orlando Hernandez back and Roger Clemens back, and now they appear to be a lot different ball club.
You know, it's interesting. This week, for the first time, you saw sort of Mets stories cropping up about the Yankees. I mean, Tino Martinez was upset about hitting 7th. He dropped down there, and then 2 days later was benched against the right-handed pitcher. Jeff Nelson was complaining that he wasn't on the All-Star game and suggested that maybe when his arm was tired, he wouldn't volunteer for duty. There were a couple of other little cuts. David Cohn was skipped in the rotation. It's all of a sudden decided these are the first cracks in, in Club Paradise. And then they go in there and all this. But Buck, I can't believe that Mike Hampton is going to retaliate just for the fear of, can you have one of your 2 best starters risk getting thrown out of a game?
Yeah, I don't know, but you know what? You got to send a message to the rest of your teammates, and it's got to be a situation where, you know what, Hamilton has to come out there, and Hampton has to come out there and actually make a statement, because the Mets are pretty upset about what happened last night.
And Hampton will. He's not afraid to do that, and will take that role, and I think it'll happen early in the game.
Well, Joe Morgan talked about it a little bit today on Baseball Today. He says, you know what, the Mets are pretty upset about it, and Mike Hampton has that football mentality, and he's going to stand up for his teammates.
Sunday night. And we're not making this up. We'd love to have you watch the game anyhow, but that's just a fact of life. That's the way that game's going to start with those incidents. So it's an intriguing affair Sunday night. New York Yankees back in first place. You saw Josh Beckett on the mound as he comes on to do the pitching here. This is a real prospect. First round pick at 99. And he can throw the ball hard.
Well, Josh Hamilton and Beckett were the first 2 picks in the draft in '99, and they were clearly 2 really upper echelon. There was no one comparable to either one of them in this year's draft. But he's a hard thrower. He's been compared a lot to Kerry Wood, which is a tough comparison for anyone to live up to. But he's a really nice kid, soft-spoken, power stuff. You talk about organizations with arms. I mean, Florida's right there behind Chicago if they are behind them.
Alex Escobar has had 2 at-bats. He struck out and flied out. New York Met organization. Escobar making the start in center field in today's game. 2-5-0 for the world. 2-3-0 Team USA in our Future Stars game from Atlanta. Taken up high. 2-1 strike count on Escobar.
Well, we see Josh Beckett here in the Futures game, and on Tuesday we will see Ryan Dempster, a young hard-throwing Marlin himself. And Peter, they have got some good arms, as you mentioned, and they've actually made some noise a little bit, playing a little bit over 500 right now.
Yeah, I'm not a believer in Manager of the Year awards, because, I mean, how could you say difference? You talk about a manager who's done a great job and developed the maturity of a team. John Bowles in Florida deserves a great deal of credit, which none of which you will get.
Walk given up here. And leadoff man is on, and let's get down to Harold, see who he's with. Harold Reynolds.
Well, it's about the first time I've been this tall. You know, he is 6'11", but Ryan Anderson, Peter Gams was telling me earlier, you didn't face a left-hander in all of high school. What was that like the first time you faced a left-handed hitter?
Well, it was a little bit weird going out there, seeing someone on a different side of the plate. I really didn't know how to adjust. I wasn't really comfortable out there. I felt like I was going to hit the batter a lot.
What are some of the things you're working on in Tacoma, and how difficult has it been for you to stay patient to not get that call to Seattle yet?
That's not hard at all. Like my manager says, and Tacoma, Greg or Myers. He says if you're thinking about Seattle, then you're not going to be able to do your job down in Tacoma. So you just got to stay one-minded and try to focus. And I'm just going out there and not really worrying about the left-handers, just trying to throw the ball on both sides of the plate and try to make sure that they're not comfortable.
Well, he's so laid back, you know, not a lot of things are going to bother him. Even the home run he gave up today, he says, I'll be back. I'll back up to you guys.
All right, Harold. Carlos Peña got the home run off him as Anderson started the ball game and worked that first inning. Felipe Lopez fouls it off. 1 ball, 2 strike count with Alex Escobar on at first base. Lopez sparkling plays defensively at short and singled and scored in the 3rd inning after stealing a base. He's pretty much done it all today already.
Gary, the Blue Jays are obviously, like everybody else in contention, trying to add to their pitching staff, and Felipe Lopez is one of the sought-after young players in their system.
Runner goes. Swung on, missed, and Petra could not get that one out of the glove to make a throw on it. So Escobar has a stolen base.
Buck, with Gonzalez a free agent, don't they have to view him as the absolute franchise shortstop and even think about maybe him playing shortstop next year?
Yeah, they're thinking about it. They obviously are very impressed with him. As you look at Escobar's jump at first base, and Petra couldn't get a handle on it, no throw at all. But Lopez is at Double-A, Cesar Asturias is at Triple-A, and he's another good-looking young shortstop prospect. He's from Venezuela, and he's also as advanced as Lopez. Probably not as much on the offensive side as the defensive side, but Lopez and Asturias, 2 real fine middle infield prospects.
Carlos Peña. The other thing with Toronto, I mean, in this day and age, they got a chance to win.
Yeah.
So if you got a chance to win, you make a move.
Yeah, and that's why you develop farm systems, so you have those extra chips to trade. And they've really rebuilt their farm system. You know, a few years ago they were pretty much down. They didn't have much in their farm system because of all the pursuits they made earlier, trying to chase World Series and division championships. But right now they're pretty well stocked. Vernon Wells is here, Felipe Lopez is here, and they've got some good-looking young players.
Well, nobody else can say that every draft choice in the 90s made the big leagues. And Tim Wilkin, their scouting director, I mean, he hasn't missed. When they've had high picks, it's been Carpenter, it's been Koch, it's been Vernon Wells,
Sean Green.
Yeah, I mean, they've
big names. Carlos Peña takes it outside and a 3-0 count with a runner at second base.
Yeah, you're doing some pretty good work when you get Felipe Lopez, your 98 number 1 pick, and Vernon Wells, your 97 number 1 pick in this futures game.
Koch just went by at number 95. He did his future. He just went 95 miles an hour by us.
That one is fouled back.
He's really come into his own in the last month or so. He had a great month of June. He's got 20 saves now for the Blue Jays.
Program that many will take home as a souvenir from the All-Star festivities here in Atlanta for the weekend. Good crowd on hand today for today's activities, and then tomorrow there'll be lots of folks on hand for the batting practice workouts for the American and National Leagues here at Turner Field. 3 ball, 1 strike count. Peña, 18 doubles, triple 18 home runs in the minors, and he has struck out 67 times and drawn 63 walks. You like to see those kind of numbers from a guy who swings the bat hard.
Now, there's a pretty good chance that if the Rangers, who are going to start moving some of their veteran players who are free agents, do trade David Segui before August 1st, which is likely, then the Rangers plan to move Carlos Peña up to Oklahoma City in AAA and see how close he is for next year, or whether they have to fill for a year, maybe use Frank Catalanotto as a DH, something like that, and then bring Carlos in the middle of next year, and you know, Rafael Palmeiro can take some time DHing as well, because he's a very stylish first baseman.
Big time cut on a fastball that Beckett whipped by him up high, and that's 2 strikeouts for Josh Beckett in his inning of work here.
Right upstairs with that good 4-seam fastball, and you see he rides it right by Peña, and of course Peña jumped on Ryan Anderson's fastball. Another look at the good delivery, and that ball just jumps out of his hand.
He'll strike out a lot of folks in the minor leagues in the Florida organization this year. 2 down. Still a runner at second base, and that one an off-speed pitch that got away to Julio Zuleta. Zuleta struck out twice. That was a changeup he just lost. Ended up going over his head and behind him, but there wasn't much on the pitch.
Take a look at this pitch. He doesn't really get his motion all the way through the pitch, and you can see it sails out of his hand and behind Zuleta.
They heard us talking about Piazza and Clemens. Huh? He wanted to try it. 1 ball, 1 strikeout. Signals may be a problem here.
Well, this is an all-star game. Watch the reaction of the catcher. He expects it to be down, and you can see he really got handcuffed and quickly went out to the mound to talk to Beckett. You expect the breaking ball, and then you get that 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and Petrick's lucky that that was fouled off.
Might have lost his shoulder on that had it not been. Zuletta's got a 1 ball, 1 strike count, 2 down. Alex Escobar with good speed at second base. Game is tied at 2-2 in the top half of the 5th inning. I think he's checking on the count here. The home plate umpire looked up at the board and wasn't sure what it was.
That's encouraging.
It is, isn't it? Breaking ball swung on a miss. You can tell him what it is right now. As Beckett gets the strikeout, he walked the leadoff batter and then struck the side out. So no runs, no hits, a base runner left on. We go to the bottom half of the inning after this K by Beckett. Sends down the World team. USA coming up 2-2. Complete wrap-up of the day in Major League Baseball. ESPN at 7 o'clock tonight. The All-Star injuries will be a story. The big unit on the hill and the Subway Series heating up for Game 4 of that series. 7 o'clock. The All-Stars are indeed flying away. Cesar King was supposed to start this game, but he couldn't get here in time because of minor league games. So here he is. He's going to be doing the catching. Indeed, he moves into left field, just coming into the ball game. Escobar has come out of the ball game, and Jackson-Millian moves into center. And from left field, Chen goes to right field. So change is made as both teams want to get everybody in. Chen-Feng Chen over in right now. And on the mound, Randy Durame. Dawkins, Cincinnati Reds organization, leading it off here in the number 9 spot, playing at shortstop, picked up an RBI and a ground ball out when they could not turn 2 in the 2nd inning. Team USA got their 2 runs. He and Ben Petrick with the RBIs. Durame just blows that one in 2-2.
Durame's actually a soccer player growing up in Mexico, but he developed late, pitched a couple of years in the Dominican, and last year was his first full year in the United States. He's 11-3 between Vero Beach and San Antonio. Pretty good arm. Another left-handed pitcher from Mexico signed by Mike Brito.
Yeah, of course. Teddy Aguirre and Fernando Valenzuela, 2 very good big league left-handers from Mexico, and Durame is not overpowering. He's a finesse guy with a pretty good breaking ball.
Fouls that big into the screen to stay alive. Vernon Wells, Corey Patterson. You do up at the top of the order, but we'll get some changes in the order with getting some of the players who have been on the bench coming in a chance to play in this game. 2-2 breaking ball misses outside. 3-2. 3-2 to Dawkins. Durame with the 3-2 delivery, and he walked him. Went away, and Dawkins would not chase. Some of the all-stars that you've seen in the future game. Rick Ankiel with St. Louis, of course, another highly touted player who's proving they were right, pitching for the Cardinals this year, and he is a candidate for Rookie of the Year in the National League with what he's done.
6-4 with a very good ERA at 3.74. And look at that, 93 strikeouts and 54 walks. And got that great curveball, Peter.
Yeah, he does, and he's got that very slow, deliberate motion. The ball flies out of his hand. I still think he's a clone of Ken Brett. But when he was young, looked like he might be a great pitcher.
Wilkerson pops that one up behind the plate. And King there to make the play. Cesar King with it. Sammy Sosa's at work today, Bill Pito.
Center fielder, number 25, Corey Patterson.
People talk about summer doldrums. There's no such thing at Wrigley Field because generally the wind blows out when it gets hot. And so do the balls. Throw to first, fairly close play in the take by Peña.
Well,
One down, runner on.
Talks about the Subway Series in New York, but it's a special time in Chicago as well, with the White Sox doing so well, and it's always festive at Wrigley Field.
Sammy Sosa will be competing in the home run hitting contest on ESPN tomorrow. 1-0 count on Corey Patterson, who has flied out twice. It's a 2-2 ball game. That one to second, hauled in and did not make the play at first. Wilson, as Dawkins got back to the bag.
Second baseman.
2 away.
Number 22, Marcus Giles.
I think they might turn 2 for a moment on that one. Dawkins had a couple of steps to second base.
Wilson seemed a little hesitant to try to throw it through the base runner, which is a little bit of a tricky play.
Infield signals from short to second on what the pitch is here with a right-hander up, and that one's fouled off. Marcus Giles, who doubled in the first inning and is grounded out. 1 for 2 in the ball game for Giles. Double-A ball. You see the 298 mark that he has put up so far in the year. 17 triples, 17 doubles, a triple, and 11 home runs for extra base hits for him.
I think they're doing a good job with Marcus Giles, just advancing him one step at a time, allowing him to get a lot of at-bats in each level and really gain confidence as a hitter.
He's been successful wherever he's gone at the plate. Did he go around? They checked no. Carolina A-League, he had 326 there. Lower level of the South Carolina League, he was among the top 10 in the three Triple Crown categories. Good numbers. Came within 12 points of winning the Triple Crown, in fact. That pitch is going to be outside for a ball. 2-ball, 2-strike count on Giles. 53rd round pick in '96, the man at the plate, Marcus Giles. And that one 9-ironed, foul outside of third to keep it at 2-2. It's what you do after the pick as well as where you're picked.
We're seeing right now we're in the middle of a real war between Major League Baseball and the agents on the value and the signing bonuses of these guys.
Got him. Durame comes on and gets the strikeout to end the inning. Another leadoff walk, but the pitcher regroups to get it taken care of. Giles, one going down and away. 2-2. World and USA tied at 2-2. Texas Rangers being noted here, and they'll be noted with the guy Harold Reynolds as well right now. Harold.
Young man right here, your first at bat, Carlos Peña. You're facing the left-hander known almost like Randy Johnson. You jump on one. What was your game plan facing him?
Well, just looking for a good pitch to hit.
Nobody on. Peña starting at first base.
I was thinking aggressively and just put a good swing on the ball, and the ball went out of the park.
Well, you got a great organization that you're with. You got Rafael Palmeiro on first base. Do you look ahead at the guys that are ahead of you, or what do you try to do to stay focused on your game?
Well, I know that if I take care of business here in the minor leagues, if I take care of business here in my team, which is the Tulsa Drillers, things are going to take care of themselves. So I don't worry too much about what's happening up in the big leagues or anything like that. I just focus on right now, on the present.
Well, you can see why he's so successful. He's got the right perspective. Back up to you guys up top.
All right, Harold, thanks. We'll get some more changes made. Brandon Inge has come on to do the catching. Mike Bynum is now on the mound doing the pitching. The outfield, we're going to get Jack Cust. Jason Romano has come into the ball game to play at second base. Then in the outfield, Jack Cust is in left field. Brad Wilkinson has moved from left to center field. There is Wilkinson. And on the hesitation delivery, Chen delivers a base hit. Chen-Fang Chen has had a couple of hits and an RBI, 2 for 3 in the ball game, and he's on with a leadoff single in the 6th inning.
Right fielder, center fielder.
Well, Mike Bynum's a left-handed pitcher out of North Carolina. Was the number 2 pick of the Padres last year. He's really dominated at Rancho. I mean, he could probably pitch in Double-A easily. See the 109 strikeouts in 102 thirds innings. Great sliders. Pretty good fastball, you know, 90, 91, 92. But Rick Sutcliffe likes to call it that claw delivery and a hold on that slider. And when it's right, it's Carlton-esque. Mike says it this year it hasn't been as good as it was last year, but boy, if he's run up those numbers and he hasn't found his slider yet, imagine what he'd do in the second half.
And I think it's interesting that you leave a player at one level and let him experience good outings and bad outings, giving him an opportunity to make adjustments. Young pitchers, watch the hesitation in his delivery when he kicks that leg up, and right there, that's really disruptive to a hitter's timing. You see the front leg come out, you expect the ball to follow it, but there's a hesitation there, and that can really disrupt what a hitter's trying to do as far as timing the pitches.
You know, it may be a good thing, Buck, and I think you're right about it. Keeping a guy at one level. It may be good that the Padres aren't in it this year because, you know, if they were in the National League West race, they saw this guy. To me, here's a guy that you look at and say, boy, we could bring him up in August and September to get a left-hander, and it may really quell his, slow down his development.
Well, I think the big thing about young pitchers in the major leagues, and when you compare the successful pitchers, say David Wells this year, they can repeat their delivery pitch after pitch after pitch. Where young pitchers like mine might not have that polish yet. He's got the pitches and he's got all of the finesse, but he can't do it consistently through the course of a ball game. And I think that's what caused problems, because then you get a young pitcher out there not really knowing what to do, in a sense of panic overcomes them, and you know, they really get out of their game plan, and you could really set them back.
I think people forget how much athleticism is, how important it is to young pitchers, any pitchers. I mean, you watch David Wells, you can talk whatever you want about his girth and all the rest. He's at the same place over the rubber on every pitch. You know, I mean, you watch him run in the outfield. He's a great athlete, and that's why he has such great control. Tim Hudson's the same way, another great athlete. Pedro Martinez is a great athlete. Mike Hampton. You know, those guys, most of them have that great consistency in delivery.
Jackson Millian fighting off pitches here as he fouls it back to keep it a 2-2 count. Runner on at first base, nobody out.
Well, you can go around baseball and think back even to Nolan Ryan, and he had the great fastball early on, but it wasn't until he really harnessed his delivery and he got command of the strike zone and he became the dominant pitcher that enabled him to become a Hall of Famer. And Randy Johnson the same way. I mean, he's always had great stuff going back to his high school days, but once he got polished, he was a hitter's nightmare.
That one will go to right field and will hold the runner up. Play made to retire Millian. He is out of there, and he's 0 for 3 in the ball game now. Chen will go back to first base, and that will bring up Ruben Salazar, who's come out as the pinch hitter. Salazar for Travis Wilson. Wilson had a 1 for 2 as he picked up a single. We'll get a look at Salazar and the Twins organization.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please for the world team.
A-ball, Fort Myers, 22 years old, from Venezuela.
An offensive second baseman replacing an offensive second baseman.
You know what? Baseball is a victim of trends, and of course the shortstop trend in the American League, and now the second base trend in the National League.
Runner at first, quick throw down. Brandon Inge, the catcher, to Munson, but not in time.
Now, Brandon Inge is a guy, he was an All-American shortstop at Virginia Commonwealth, and Tigers took him in the second round a couple of years ago and said, you're going to be a catcher. I had watched him play the year before for Bourne on the Cape. Used to see him work out in the place I go to. The next year he gets drafted. 3 days later, he's working out in that gym in Bourne. And what are you doing here? You just got drafted. You're an All-American. He said, well, these signings always take about a month. So they want me to convert to catcher. So I got my car, drove up here, bought a lot of catching equipment. I'm going to work out 8 hours a day.
Keep you going. That's a base hit. Dawkins trying to backhand that one, could not. So Salazar is on, and now runners are on at first and second base. 1 down, 2-2 game. World team gets their 7th hit of the ball game. Team USA with just 3.
Now Salazar with another good swing, and one thing we have seen, you talk about the offensive second baseman, and Wilson got himself a hit. Salazar pinch hitting for Wilson, delivers a hit, and World's got a chance to score here.
Big go-ahead run with only 1 away. Infield, of course, will play for 2 for Team USA. Jose Leon, Double-A ball player, had a single in the second inning, lined out his last time up. That hesitation fouls that one off down the right field line and into the seats.
One thing the World team was concerned about was the fact that they had just 2 pitchers above Double-A. And Oka wasn't able to pitch because he pitched last night. Tony Perez's coaching staff said, you know what, we're going to get a real good feel for some younger pitchers and younger players, and they really held their own, holding the USA to just 3 hits.
And those 2 runs coming in the 2nd inning, neither on a hit, sac fly and a ground ball out. Down to 3rd, chance for 2. Burroughs, Romano, the relay is not in time.
Now there's a little bit of the inexperience of the young players because Burroughs thought the ball was a sure double play ball. He took a little bit too much time, and as he advances up the ladder to the big leagues, he's going to have to load this ball in a hurry. Watch the extra step there. He just takes too much time to get the ball to second base, and that eliminates any possibility of a double play. I mean, third baseman, they've got to turn that ball quickly, and watch once again a couple of steps, a shuffle towards second, and he's very deliberate with that throw, and it wasn't a good throw. It was down around the knees, and because of that, they can't turn 2.
So that leaves a scoring opportunity now with 2 down as Chen moved over to third base.
But those are the things you learn on the way to the big leagues. As you step up from AA to A ball and AAA, things become quicker.
Pace of the game changes. Fouled off by King as he's getting his first at-bat opportunity here behind the plate. Cesar King and the Phillies organization. RBI chance, runners at first and third, and 2 down. Mike Bynum pitches that one inside. Good play made by Brandon Inge as he got over to block it. 2 ball, 1 strike count.
Well, that's the shortstop background right there, the quickness behind the plate. Peter mentioned that Inge was a shortstop in college and a very good one, but the quickness behind the plate really translates very effectively.
He could throw too, Buck. He played shortstop and close for Virginia Commonwealth, and he got clocked at 93 to 95 miles an hour when he came in as a pitcher, so he's got the arm to catch.
Well, let me tell you, they have an All-American catcher down at first base, the Tigers that is, Eric Munson, who has made the transition now to first base, so that tells you all you need to know about what the Tigers think about Inge. Munson, a great offensive prospect, so he moves from behind the plate to first base.
And he got nailed on that one inside. Bynum came in with a real tough pitch to hit right there. So no runs despite a couple of hits. Runners left on at first and third. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning in our futures game, tied at 2-2. This is what's known as nasty stuff. Not much of a cut for King. Tied at 2-2, 2-7-0 for the world, 2-3-0 for the USA. Bottom of the 6th coming. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent. And don't forget, when you're surfing the World Wide Web, stop by MajorLeagueBaseball.com, the most complete baseball coverage on the internet. Gary Thorne, Buck Martinez, Peter Gammons upstairs. Great to have you with us, and we'll get some changes. Ruben Salazar will stay in the ball game at second base. Harold Reynolds, field level, talking to a number of these future stars as they make their way in and out of the ball game here. Luis Saturia will make the move to center field. And on the mound, Carlos Silva.
Out of the Phillies organization, 20 years old, Venezuelan, power sinker. He's still a work in progress as far as his off-speed pitch and his breaking ball. I mean, you can see that 141 hits and only 53 strikeouts in 107 and 2/3 innings. But you know, it's a young power arm that the Phillies really haven't had too many of out of Latin America. They're trying to now increase their scope.
Drew Henson goes after the fastball, sinking down and in on him.
Well, the one thing that I was impressed with in the stats from Silva is the fact he just walked 14 guys, and to me that's a huge number because it just shows you he's not intimidated at all by the hitters. He'll come right at you.
And Drew Henson's just the other way, Buck. This, as you would expect, I mean, this is a great guy with power who has struck out 81 times and 21 walks in the minors so far this year for Drew Henson. New York Yankee organization. He has lined out, grounded out to short again. Lopez, who's had a day of it at short. And Henson's 0 for 3. Start the 6th inning, 1 away.
Now, Gary, you mentioned the fact that this game generally turns into a showcase. Alfonso Soriano last year had a couple of home runs in the Futures game at Fenway, and Felipe Lopez has made all of the plays in the field and picked up a base hit.
Usually works out that way, and it can make an enormous difference for some players. Those who may be noted, obviously if they're here, they're noted, but all of a sudden the center of attention goes to them, and for the rest of the year, scouts begin to take an extra look. GMs take an extra look at the page of the minor league numbers. I mean, that's what a game like this can mean to one or two people. Munson up, 1-0 count, one down, and he puts that one to center field. Saturi is there. He has it. Josh Beckett standing by with Harold Reynolds. Harold.
Hey, guys, this guy was bringing some gas today, the old Texas Fire Flamer. What's it like been for your first season for you?
It's just been a learning process, man. I'm just trying to learn everything I can. Just trying, go out there and take it. I know it's a cliche, but you got to learn. You got to go through that first season and learn what your body needs the day before you pitch, the day that you pitch, and the day after. And that's all I'm trying to do right now.
Well, you had a very impressive outing last time, striking out the side. What were you trying to do with the hitters here?
I was trying to throw strikes, and I guess I ended up throwing them when I needed to. I was 3 balls on 2 or 3 guys. I don't even remember. I just threw a strike when I needed to, I guess.
Well, I guess that's the main thing you need to do is throw strikes. When you do that, you have great success. Back up to you guys up top.
All right, got the inning in today, as all these pitchers are doing. Sean Burroughs is at the plate. Burroughs hitting .283 in the minors. Kind of a surprise he has only 1 home run so far.
Well, I think that's a learn. The big jump to me is when you go from A ball into AA, and he's seeing very different pitching in the Southern League. Believe me, he'll hit for power. It's just a learning process. He's very young to be playing that high in that league, playing in the heat in Mobile especially.
Well, Peter, I talked to his father, Jeff Burroughs, last night, and he said, it's a real tough league, and Sean's had an adjustment, and you're right, AA is a huge adjustment, and he's so young, and there's so much expected of Sean Burroughs, but you got to be patient with these young guys, and they will learn. Obviously, he's got a great foundation underneath him, and he just needs to go up there and see what that AA quality pitching is like.
He's had 2 hits in the ball game. Don Mattingly, AAA ball, 11 home runs.
Everybody blossoms at a different time frame.
You never know. Or maybe you do know.
Sammy Sosa's minor league high was 14, I believe.
Yeah. Josh Hamilton, 0-1 count, 2 down. And the pitch is taken outside. Hamilton a single in the second inning. Flied out in his last at bat. 7 hits for the World team. Team USA has picked up 4. Game is tied at 2-2 as the runs came early. Carlos Peña, a home run in the first inning for the World team, and an RBI single by Chen Fang Chen that came in the third.
We forget how young these guys are. I mean, Sean Burroughs would be coming out of his sophomore year in college, and Josh Hamilton be coming out his freshman year in college.
Yeah. I mean, some guys have just turned 19. That's fouled off. Long way to go for them. Sean Burroughs, 19 years old, and one who's a product of the Little League organizations.
Now, 1993, Long Beach in the Little League World Series, and a great run, as Jeff Burroughs talked about. They won back-to-back championships. Of course, a great memory. The Little League World Series is quite a format, of course. Derek Bell, who will play tonight for the Mets, played in the Little League World Series for Tampa.
2-2. That one grounded towards first. No play on this. Salazar knocked it away. Going to third is Burroughs, and he will stop there. That'll be a hit for Josh Hamilton. 2 for 3 in the ball game for him, and with 2 down, a Team USA rally, first and third.
Just a ground ball hit the dirt in front of home plate, and it goes off the glove of Ruben Salazar, kicks away from him. That enables Sean Burroughs to alertly move over to third base. There's the dive, and when the ball bounces off his glove, Phil Roof, the third base coach, waves Burrow all the way over to third.
So, chance for a go-ahead RBI with 2 down for Brandon Inge, who's coming up from the Tiger organization, who's come on to do the catching in this game. .262 for Inge this year in the minors. Swings and misses on the Carlos Silva delivery.
Well, we talked about the great catching prospect Inge, and the Tigers have a great catching instructor in Glenn Ezell, a guy that really can polish off those young catchers in his organization. Of course, they have Brad Ausmus in the big leagues and Rob Fick, who doesn't do much catching anymore because Ausmus plays every day. But Fick, kind of like Munson, more of an offensive prospect than a catching prospect.
Second round pick in '98, Brandon Inge. Runners off first and third. The 1-1 delivery. The breaking ball, it's outside.
There's a good chance that Inge will end up playing for the Olympic team. Going over to Sydney. I mean, they're trying to make. Bob Watson was here, Tom Lasorda, and Phil Regan, and Reggie Smith were here today, looking at a lot of these kids, talking to a lot of them. But they'll want to have some AAA veterans, but they'll want some good minor league players too, and they really like Inge's makeup.
He is going to be retired, and Inge out of there to end the inning. No runs, a couple of hits, 2 are left on base. It remains a 2-2 ball game. It has been a pitcher's game. USA pitchers 11 strikeouts, at least 1 in every inning as we go 2-2 through the first 6. Future Stars game. Pat Burrell has been here. Now the Philadelphia Phillies. And boy, has he turned his season around.
Well, he's got great hitting mechanics. He's a very intelligent hitter. He's worked really hard to redefine his body over the years. He can play first, he can play left, he can do anything. He's a fabulous player, a real star. Well, when you have Buehrle and Roland and Abreu and Glanville
and Lieberthal, they've got a great foundation in Philadelphia. And I asked Cal McRae about Pat Burrell. I says, what do you do with Pat Burrell as a hitting instructor? He said, you just add water.
Pretty good.
That's very good. Great line.
We'll get a new pitcher here. Jeff Austin is on. And the pitch is in for a strike as we go to the 7th inning.
He was a great pitcher at Stanford. 4th pick in the country by Kansas City. And not an overpowering guy, but it'll be an interesting one to watch. I mean, the Royals are obviously looking for anyone who can pitch. The distress flags are out. And I think they're hoping Austin can be a 3-4 starter type.
Give it a whirl. 1-1 delivery. Phillies, of course, thought they were going to have a pretty good team this year.
Yeah, sure did.
Better than what it is.
Paul Bird was an all-star a year ago. Got demoted to AAA.
But, you know, if you look at that club, you know, they still have the makings of a pretty good. You know, Schilling comes back next year. The way Randy Wolf has come along.
And Temna Dunjidi takes the breaking ball up high. Dunjidi getting his first at bat, a 2-ball, 2-strike count.
Well, this is a kid who was born in Zaire, grew up in Montreal. And Buck, he's one of the biggest baseball junkies I've ever met. I love this guy. What a personality this guy has.
Well, he grew up in Montreal, and when the Orioles drafted him with their first-round pick, Pat Gillick brought him right to Toronto when the Orioles were at Skydome to play the Blue Jays, and he was really impressed with the Orioles, the way they treated him. And you're right, he has made some dramatic strides in his baseball skills. Pat Gillick is one of the innovators as far as international scouting, of course, and he goes all the way back to Jose Pett. He signed out of Brazil.
And Gidi fouls that pitch back. It remains a 3-ball, 2-strike count. You scour the globe in this day and age.
Well, with Houston, with New York, with Toronto, with Baltimore, and now with Seattle, Pat's always loved the international intrigue, things like that. He had that great scout, Wayne Morgan, who used to be their international scout for Toronto. He once tried to smuggle a softball catcher out of New Zealand.
I was with Wayne Morgan in the Netherlands doing a baseball clinic, and he flew in a couple of cricket players from England. Professional cricket players.
Look at this. Mouth open. He does have that sort of Michael Jordan freshness, doesn't he?
Just like he used to shoot the jumper. Najidi is on at first base. A leadoff walk in the 7th inning. Felipe Lopez has gone the distance at short. And a ground to second base. Romano Dawkins. Got it. Double play. And Lopez. Well, they turned that one, and yet another leadoff walk in this game that will offensively go for naught.
Dawkins, as Peter talked about, is a natural shortstop, and they've asked him to learn how to play second base a little bit. But boy, does he look at ease coming across the bag from his shortstop position. Gets a little flip from Jason Romano, and then the strong arm in time to get Lopez at first.
You know, last year when they were playing in those Pan Am games, they had to win 6 games in a row. I don't think a lot of people in this country realize they were tremendous underdogs to ever make it to be able to go to Sydney. They had to win 6 games in a row after losing the first game. Almost every one of them was a one-run game. And Buddy Bell told me from the 6th inning on, it seemed as if 1 out of every 2 balls was hit to this kid who was an A-ball shortstop, never missed one of them. And of course, they finally got there. They ended up losing to Cuba in the final game, but by getting there and winning that final 1-run game against Mexico, they were able to qualify and get to the to Sydney.
Carlos Peña, who delivered the home run in the first inning off Ryan Anderson, has since walked and struck out. So we remain tied at 2-2. The World out hitting USA 7-5 so far in this game. Our futures contest from Atlanta, and the pitchers continue to dominate. He rips that one to right, but it's going to be a foul ball. He had distance. 330 down that line, and he put it in the runway.
Well, we heard him talking about what his goal is and his objectives at Double-A with Tulsa. He says, you know, if I take care of my business, the big leagues will be there in due time. And that's a great outlook as you look at that great full swing of Carlos Peña. But so many guys get worried about what's going on above them and below them, and they forget about the focus of playing in their particular league.
Good off-speed pitch by Jeff Austin right there after that long foul ball came off a fastball. No runs, no hits, and nobody left on base. The strikeout will take us to the 7th inning stretch. Futures game 2000 in Atlanta. Welcome back in a 2-2 ball game as we take a look at Dawkins, who's about set to lead it off here, needing some runs. Cincinnati Reds had an opportunity to play. These are the kind of plays that'll make your manager remember and get you back there. So he hauled that one in to start a double play. A great stop at short and a tough pitch to get it back for the pivot. Those are the kind of plays that'll make you a major leaguer. 14 games for the Reds this season. And he's had to work there this game.
Well, he is playing at shortstop, and he looks very comfortable. It looks like he's a little more advanced than most of the middle infielders in this game. And the big thing about him is he's got a lot of confidence. And when you think about the possibility of Gookie Dawkins and Pokey Reese up the middle, it'll be very difficult to get anything through that Reds infield.
They've got a potential. We always talk about good ball clubs being strong up the middle. They could be real strong up the middle. Craig Anderson, Mariners out of Australia, on the mound. Left-hander inside for ball.
Well, Pat Gillick says they have the hardest thrower in this game, a guy named Anderson, and they have the softest thrower in this game, a guy named Anderson. He's the Jamie Moyer of Australia.
That one, left field, not deep. And there's one away as Dawkins is retired. Let's check in with Bill Pito. Bill.
Center fielder, number 7, Brad Wilkerson.
Major League Baseball underway. Bill keeping us up to date on some of those ball games being played heading into the All-Star break. Brad Wilkerson has had one at bat. Popped out in that opportunity. One down. Bottom half of the 7th inning. 2-2 game. These teams will only play 9 innings. There will be no extra innings.
We were talking about guys who are two-way players, who are both pitchers and hitters. Wilkerson was a great pitcher at the University of Florida as well. More teams thought that he was a pitching prospect than a hitting prospect, but the Expos said no, and I think they probably turned out to be right. Very good eye and a very good hitting style, a little bit like Mattingly as a hitter.
He'll take the walk. Anderson puts a runner on with one away. Team USA will get a chance here in the bottom half of the 7th inning rather, with a base runner on. And Jack Costa is going to get his first at bat. Cuss standing in for Team USA. Diamondbacks, Double-A El Paso, 21 years old.
Well, he was the #1 pick of the Rockies, and he can hit. I think there's been some question about his defensive position, but it's funny how major league teams find a place for
hitters.
Absolutely.
Those numbers will get you a job if you can maintain that through Double-A and carry it right on into the big leagues.
Big power numbers at the minor league level. Towering fly ball to center field. Back at the 400 mark. Saturio is there and hauls it in. That's about as far as you can hit it in this yard and keep it in. And Jack Cuss gave it a ride. Luis Saturio went back, had room. 2 down.
Now, he talked about the defensive jump in center, and take a look at this big powerful swing. The ball is away from him and he got a lot of lift, and initially when it first came off the bat, Cuss, I believe, thinks he got it all. He got a little pose there, but there is the center fielder Saturio making a play right up against the wall.
Good move to haul that one in. Romano up 2 down. Off-speed breaking ball for a strike.
Romano's another one of the Rangers' very good prospects. Jason, 21 years old, out of Tampa. This is another attitude guy. He's got a lot of offensive ability. They moved him to second base. Last year, he went up to play with a major league club in the Hall of Fame game in Cooperstown. The next day, he beat his manager to the ballpark. He was in the ballpark in Port Charlotte at 11 o'clock in the morning to work on his defense. No big league styling there.
And there's no Cooperstown International Airport either.
No. That Albany to Port Charlotte is not a direct flight.
That one bounces away and all the way to third. Nope, going to turn around and go back. Wild pitch. Wilkerson thought about it as he made the big turn. King had trouble finding that ball, but he stopped at second base.
Take a look at the base runner, Brad Wilkerson. He takes a step back toward first, then the ball gets away from the catcher, and he's thinking about third base right here as Cesar King doesn't locate the ball, and finally he finds it back behind the umpire, and Wilkerson has to hold his ground at second.
1 ball, 2 strike count on Romano. Gets the RBI chance now in this 2-2 game. Foul that one off. Boy, he had that one right off the end of the bat.
Well, Peter, you talked about the 2 Andersons in the Mariners organization, and for me, Craig Anderson has got to have more confidence than Ryan Anderson. I mean, anybody can go out there and pitch with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, but for a guy to pitch with an 84-mile-an-hour fastball, you've got to be pretty gutsy. Jamie Moore, you're one of the toughest left-handers in the game, and he'll just flip it up there and pitch you in, pitch you out, and change speeds all game long.
Another one of those off-speed breaking balls. It gets away from him. 2 ball, 2 strike count.
Well, one of the things that really impressed the Mariners is Anderson came over from Australia, went right into rookie ball, and playing in Australia, he already knew it's very difficult to run on, as you saw. Custer's going back to first on every play. He feels his position pretty well. A lot of polish.
And that changeup, that's the pitch a lot of pitchers have to learn to get to the majors. He's already got that one down pretty good. Soft tossing or not. Strikeout. No runs, no hits. Base runner left on at second base. 7 complete in our futures game. Still 2-2. Stone Mountain is a big tourist attraction not far from Atlanta, where we are for our futures game. And a reminder, coming up Wednesday night, we'll continue to showcase the best of minor league baseball. 7:30, Rochester, New York, the site AAA All-Star Game. Ryan Anderson, Tomako Oka, among our stars, will be there. Ruben Sierra, the same Ruben Sierra. That's at 10:30 from Bowie, Maryland. AA All-Star Game. Carlos Peña, Marcus Giles, others heading up from this one for that. All kinds of great baseball. And for more, log on ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. Zoletta will lead it off here. He has gone the distance in the ball game and has struck out 3 times. Mark Buehrle now on the mound.
Well, the White Sox, another good pitcher in their organization. This is more of a 4-pitch guy. Fastball is 88, 90 miles an hour. He's got a nice changeup, slow curveball, and progressed very fast up into AA.
Zoletta puts that one up in the air. And that will be the first out here in the 8th inning, and we'll check in field level. Harold Reynolds. Harold?
Well, hey, I'm standing here with one of the glove guys. You know, I got to get the guys in that can pick it. Felipe, you've been out there just making it look easy as can be. You like this field, or is it just the way you play the game?
No, I like this field very much. Yes! Just trying to go out there, do the best I can, have fun. And I really like that field over there.
Well, you were the 8th pick in the draft 2 years ago, and you're in the Blue Jays organization. Very strong with a lot of shortstops in that organization. Do you look at that, or what do you try to concentrate on as far as moving to the big leagues?
No, I don't. Doesn't matter where I got picked, you know. Well, I just try to go out there, do the best I can. No pressure at all, you know. Just work hard and, you know, keep doing what I'm doing.
All right, well, we're going to throw it back up to you guys because he's going to keep working hard down here, and so am I.
You are, and you're doing a heck of a job. Chen puts that one into the gap. Talk about a ball game. Chen-Fang Chen on his way to third base. Relay throw. Not in time. A triple, 2 singles, an RBI for Chen. First native Taiwanese to play professionally in the U.S. has had himself a real strong futures game.
Now we're talking about how organizations are scanning the world far and wide for talent, and this young man has certainly made an impression here in this futures game. Drives a ball in the alley in right center, and he didn't even hesitate all the way around second into third, and he's got himself at third base with just 1 out.
Well, the Dodgers have done a really good job over there. They've taken some heat in some other places for situations I don't think they even knew about. But Chen, and they signed a couple of pitchers out of the Far East. They were the team that started it with, of course, with Chan Ho Park in Korea. You know, they've done a great job.
The infield is going to be drawn in. Vitoria with an RBI chance out of the Dominican Republic. He's got a runner at third base and only 1 away. Could be a game-winning run here if they can get it home. Luis Vitoria takes the pitch inside. 2-ball, 1-strike count. Mark Buehrle on for Team USA, and the infield will try and make that play at the plate on a very speedy runner. Down and away, 2-ball, 2-strike count. We said they're only going to play 9 innings here with a number of pitchers and players they have brought for this game. Not going to go beyond 9 no matter what. So you play this one to win right now and to cut off that run here in the 8th inning. Vitoria with the outfield deep on him. 2-2 delivery. Good off-speed pitch. Foul tipped and held on to. Brandon Inge, or did it hit the ground? Came back up off the ground. Good try by Inge to make that a strikeout, but it didn't work.
Now take a look at the foul tip, and I don't know if we can see it from here, but it's a foul tip, and the umpire behind the plate says it hits the dirt, and Inge comes up with it quickly. And boy, I tell you, he does a good job trying to sell it to the umpire. Watch how quickly he gets it out of his glove. Little scoop, and he gets it right up to the umpire quickly, as if to say, hey, I got it.
Chopper, runner coming. Play to the plate, Burroughs. On the money. Tag made. They got him.
What a good play by Sean Burroughs, the third baseman. Little chopper to third base, and Brandon Inge did a good job of blocking the plate. Then had to slide off to the foul territory. And take a look at this reaction. This will give you the relationship of the play. Watch the catcher move up as Burroughs gets the ball and throws in a hurry. And look at the position of the catcher. He just rides the base runner off the plate. He never had a chance to score on this play.
Never did touch the plate, I don't think. Runner, they got picked off now on Sabathia, and the tag made by Dawkins. So Mark Buehrle, how about that? He ends up facing only 3 batters here, despite the fact there was a 1-out triple, no run scored. As Buehrle had the move, Vitoria, throw made by Munson to Dawkins for the out.
Welcome back to the Futures game. 2-2, bottom of the 8th. Standing here with the star of the San Diego Padres organization, Sean Burroughs. And Sean, talk to me about the play you just made at third base, throwing the guy out at home.
Just, you know, I kind of hesitated. I wasn't sure if I was going to barehand it or catch with my glove, and I kind of used both, you know, and got it, and had to fire a strike to the left side of the plate, so I didn't hit the guy in the back of the helmet or the back or something. So luckily it got there and got that out.
Well, what's it like being a childhood superstar? Now all of a sudden you're starting to grow. Are you getting away from the Little League stigma, or what's happening?
Yeah, we're getting away from that Little League stigma. That was in the past. That was a good time. It's time to move on, and march to San Diego. So it's fun, I mean, minor league so far have been a great time. I love playing baseball.
Well, he's got a chance to be a hero here in the bottom of the 8th, and he's the 3rd man up this inning. Back up to you guys.
Carlos Hernandez, as we go to the bottom half of the 8th inning, is the new pitcher. Hernandez will face Henson.
Well, he's one of the many really good prospects that the Astros have gotten out of Venezuela, the Abreu's and the Hidalgos and players like that. They have 2 very good young left-handers, Hernandez and Wilfredo Rodriguez, who's also on the World team. The Astros are starting to develop pitching again, which, they traded a lot. Freddie Garcia, of course, another one out of Venezuela. They had to trade in the Randy Johnson deal, but they're starting to replenish this system. But these 2 guys, Hernandez and Rodriguez, are big keys to their future.
I just can't get over how many good-looking left-handed pitchers there have been in this game. And we have seen power and we have seen finesse.
Giancarlos Boscan has come on to do the pitching. He is from Venezuela, plays in the Atlanta organization in Macon, and was called up just today. An emergency call-up. Cesar King, who was supposed to start, wasn't going to get here on time, and they were worried if something happened they'd have only 1 catcher. So they brought him up, and a surprise for him, he's behind the plate. Drew Henson has gone 0 for 3 in the ball game, lined out and grounded out twice. The bottom of the 8th inning, ball game tied at 2-2. The pitching has been pretty much in charge in this game, and good defensive plays in this game have kept a couple of scoring chances, and just that, chances that weren't. Lead-off walk. Well, Henson is on here in the 8th inning. Free pass. Coming up tomorrow, it's the return of Sports Century's 50 Greatest Athletes and Beyond, an entire new show chronicling the life of Joe DiMaggio. Show will air at 7 o'clock on ESPN. And the series continues every weeknight on ESPN Classic at 8. Look at the life and times of some of the most provocative athletes of all time. ESPN and ESPN Classic have it for you. Here's Munson. Eric Munson struck out in the 2nd inning, yet scored on a wild pitch that allowed him to reach. Came around, he's walked and flied up. 1-0 pitch to him is fouled back, and a 1-ball 1-strike count on Munson. Team USA trying to get one as the runs came early here in Atlanta. Not had anybody cross the plate since the 3rd inning. Not a lot of base runners have been on. Leadoff walks have not mattered in this game yet either. Breaking ball, missed up high with it. 2-ball 1-strike count on Munson. Carlos Hernandez checks the runner, and that one drilled towards the gap, and right. Chen is there. Hauls it in, and Munson's retired. An atta ball for the first out in the 8th inning.
Well, Munson hit it hard, but I've been impressed with Chen. He started out in left field. He moves over to right field. He gets a good jump on that ball. We've seen his prowess with the bat. He's got 3 hits, including a triple, but he looks awfully comfortable in the outfield as well. This ball is hit on the line. A pretty good pitch down and away. Munson drives. It looks like it's going to get into the gap, but Chen comes over quickly and gets himself into perfect position to make the play.
And Sean Burroughs will get another at-bat. Burroughs has already delivered a couple of singles, scored a run, and hit into a fielder's choice. Double-A numbers. And Mobile. Left-hander's pitch to him is taken up high. 2-0 count. As Carlos Hernandez falls behind, with that runner on at first base being held by Peña. Keeps it down low, gets it in for a 2-1 count on Burroughs. I wasn't too sure about where that one was. Not a big lead at first base for Henson, who got the leadoff walk. Foul back late on a heater, 2-2.
Peter, you can see Sean Burroughs' approach very similar to his father's approach, a very compact, short swing, and he's built much like his father Jeff, who was an MVP for the Texas Rangers, but he doesn't do an awful lot to generate bat speed, and it's a very short, quick, compact, powerful stroke.
2-2 delivery to him, and he launches that one into left field for a base hit. So Team USA, a couple of base runners, one down here in the 8th inning.
Right fielder, number 22.
Jeff Burroughs had mentioned that his son Sean was having a adjustment period in Double-A, and man, oh man, this is a pretty good swing on a breaking ball. Ball's away from him. He keeps his hands back. He drives it the other way in the left field, and we talked about the value of young hitters going the opposite way early in their careers.
Can Josh Hamilton get it done? First and second, one out. And outside. So Burroughs has a 3-hit day, 3 singles. Hamilton's trying to do the same. He's had a couple of singles and a fly ball up. That'll bring Boscan out to the mound to talk to Carlos Hernandez.
I feel very strongly that while everyone focuses on how bad the pitching is, I think that they don't give enough credit to how good these young hitters are. The learning, there's so much technique that they've learned. The bats are a lot better, but these guys, I mean, when you watch 19-year-old hitters being able to take left-handed breaking balls to left field with authority, I mean, the coaching and all that, they go to these camps and schools to hit a lot more. It's very different than it used to be. And I mean, we're looking at 2 guys said. One would be going into his junior year in college, the other one into his sophomore year. And another outstanding at bat by a young left-handed hitter.
Got to play at the plate. Santoria will hold the runner up at third because of it. Henson had to wait as that ball looked as though Salazar might be able to make a play on it. Josh Hamilton will pick up his 3rd hit. And now the bases are loaded in the 8th inning with 1 down.
Well, this is pretty good base running by Henson. It's a line drive, and the second baseman, Salazar, got a glove on it. Henson had to hold up to make sure that ball was safely into center. And here comes Saturia's throw to the plate, and Henson holds his ground. Just 1 out, and watch the base running here. Big step, and then the ball is over his head, so he can't score on the play. Gets the stop sign from Joel Skinner, who has now moved out to coach third.
Good coaching changes as well as player changes in this game. 1 strike count on Inge. Brandon Inge.
Poor Joel Skinner has been managing at Buffalo. They've gone through 28 pitchers on the innings, if you include those who were used in a game that was rained out. He's gone through 38 at Buffalo.
And that one to second base. Salazar dropped it. They get the out, but a run scores. And there will be an RBI. Since the double play is never assumed, Henson crosses the plate and a 3-2 Team USA lead.
Now, Ruben Salazar got ahead of himself. He got excited when he got this ground ball, thinking that this was going to get them out of the inning. He turns 360 but drops the baseball before he could get it on its way to second. He recovers in time to get the lead runner, but you can see the disappointment of the young second baseman. He just got ahead of himself.
Like they had the 2 to get out of it, not to be. Here's Dawkins, and he drills that one to left field, way back, and at the wall, the catch made. Danjiti went back and caught that one right off the top of the wall, about 340 away, and Dawkins is retired. Good defensive plays continue in this game, but wouldn't you know, it would be one that's wobbled just a bit that results in a run. It gives USA a 3-2 lead. We go to the 9th inning. Team USA has the 3-2 lead, but it was this close to being otherwise. But a fine defensive play on Dawkins' long drive. Intima Danjiti. That'll play anywhere.
Now, Gookie Dawkins disappointed. He was looking for his first hit of the day. He had an RBI on a fielder's choice, but he was 0 for 3 now in the ball game. Carlos Hernandez gives up a run. Had a chance to get out of the inning, but they couldn't turn the double play.
Gookie to Intima. That's
the game has changed a little bit, huh?
Thank goodness.
Just think of it as baseball nicknames. So we go to the 9th inning, 3-2. Team USA on top, and Grant Roberts out of Norfolk on the mound.
Well, he's a pretty good power pitcher with a sinker. He's only allowed 29 home runs in his entire minor league career. That's 555 innings pitched. He had some arm problems a couple of years ago, had surgery, but he's come back. He's pitched well. He's been a little inconsistent with his stuff. I think he's read a lot of the press clippings there in New York, thinking maybe I should be up there pitching for the Mets. They said to me they were happy to see John Garland, who I think is universally acclaimed, who was the best minor league pitcher, got hammered for the White Sox in his first outing. They said maybe he'll realize it's not that easy in the big leagues.
Ruben Salazar will lead it off in the 9th, as the World team needs at least one here to send this game on to the bottom of the 9th inning. 3-2 Team USA lead, and that's the way you kick it off. Salazar's on with a single off Roberts in the 9th inning. That is the 9th hit.
Third baseman, number 19, Jose Leon.
Sports Center is coming up next. The Wimbledon highlights. The Giants looking for the sweep. More all-star losses as the injuries over this past week to all-star players alarmingly high. And we're not done this day's Major League Baseball schedule yet.
Well, people in Seattle are holding their collective breath on MRI on Alex Rodriguez today, and I think they're really worried about that knee. It was not his head and the concussion that they're worried about, it's the knee injury.
Well, that was a Major League collision. Jose Leon up, and he puts that one out to shallow center. Wilkerson was playing at the wall, at a long way to come, and gets there. And Leon is retired, one away. Boscan, the catcher, will now get a shot at it with a runner on. We're only going to play 9 no matter what. But the World team would like to come back here and get a lead, or at least tie it up to send it to the bottom half of the 9th inning.
The catcher,
Boscan making his way up from Macon today. Jean Carlos.
Yeah, and there's Josh, number 22.
Runner at first base and one away. Breaking ball to him. This is up high, ball 1.
Now, Gary, we saw the numbers of Boscan, and they're not very good. And the reason he was called up, as you mentioned, Cesar King was not sure when he was going to get here. But Boscan had to miss about a month of the season because his father became very ill in Venezuela. And he went down there to be with his family. So he's just playing catch-up right now, but they think he's a real frontline prospect.
Talk about missing spring training for players. That's kind of what's happened to him. And obviously without a chance to do anything else baseball-wise with the family problem. That matters. 2-0 runner goes, and foul tipped or not? No, just off the glove. It'll be a stolen base for Ruben Salazar. So he gets in scoring position with 1 down and a 2-1 count on Boscan.
Inge got in a hurry here and doesn't make the transfer. You can see the ball was rattling around in his glove before he could ever get his throwing hand on it. And Salazar is able to steal it.
Potential tying run at second. Two-1 delivery by Roberts. Fastball. 2-ball, 2-strike count. Grant Roberts spending time working with Tom Seaver this spring, and also here in the minors as the season has gone along. Hall of Fame pitcher. He's working with the Mets organization. 2-2 delivery and a breaking ball again that misses down low. 3-2 count on Boscan. Roberts trying to protect the lead. There's the run that would tie it up. He's on at second base. Salazar. Three-2 again to center. Wilkerson over. Runner tagging. Not going to go. Wilkerson gets it into the cutoff man, and there are 2 down. Boscan retired. So Team USA 1 out away here in the 9th inning from a 3-2 win in our Futures Game 2000. Now, in order to get everybody in the game, Chris George has been called in from the bullpen. There is George, Kansas City organization. And Grant Roberts will come out of there having gotten 2 outs, runner on at second base, and 2 down, 3-2 Team USA. Team USA looking to get that final out and get the victory in our futures game 3-2. And wanting to give everyone a chance to play, 20-year-old Chris George out of the bullpen.
Probably the best pitching prospect in the Royals organization. They've got some good. We saw Austin earlier. They've got Snyder, Kyle Snyder. They've got Mike McDougal. They've got some arms, but he's a very polished guy. Shot all the way into AA in just a couple of years. A left-handed pitcher out of Houston. Likened a great deal to Tom Glavine in his style, delivery, demeanor, and stuff.
Great control. Really good mechanics, and you love that if you're an organization. You have young pitchers. Well, see if he can get it done here, as there are 2 down. Runner on at second base, a 3-2 lead for Team USA. Sports Center's coming along. As soon as we've completed our ball game here. And Tima Dunjidi, who made that great catch in the outfield, now has got an opportunity to be an offensive star for the world as well. He can pick up a base hit here and bring that run home with 2 down. Salazar will be running. Ruben Salazar, the base runner at second base. 1 ball, 1 strike count.
Come on, George!
Dunjidi with the outfield deep straight away on him. Takes it down low. 2 ball, 1 strike count. Dunjidi in the Orioles organization. A ball at Frederick. 21 years old. Good size. 6'1", 6'2", 200-pounder.
It's just so unusual to see a positional prospect out of Quebec. I mean, he said he played 12, 15 games senior year in high school, and then he got on another team, toured Canada, played a little bit more, but there just isn't the opportunity to play a lot there.
Now, you start late. Most of the competition you have, you're right, in high school, 12, 15 games, not much more than that. You have to be very aggressive in pursuing an opportunity to play. Go find yourself a team. And when you learn how to play in Montreal, you really have to seek out some playing situations.
Dunjidi with a 2-2 count. Chris George delivers to him outside, gets away, and Salazar goes down to third. Wild pitch. So Salazar is singled, stolen second, and on the wild pitch goes to third. Ball just bounced straight out in front on Inge that time, who turned around to find it. It was already the other way.
Well, it's very difficult for catchers who haven't had the opportunity to catch a pitcher in an all-star game. You don't know how their breaking ball is going to react when it's in the dirt. You don't know what angle you have to pursue to square up on it. And it's just kind of a difficult situation because you're catching so many guys you haven't seen before.
Dunjidi, 3-2 count. And he walked him. Well, it goes on here in the 9th inning. Chris George with a walk. Dunjidi's got some strange numbers in that regard. Obviously recognized as a hitter because he's had 77 strikeouts and 55 walks in the minors.
That's very good for a young player who has so little baseball background.
Well, Lopez gets the chance. Single and scored in the 3rd. Struck out twice, hit into a double play. He has gone the distance at shortstop, Felipe Lopez. Lopez, 25 RBIs, 75 games. He's a top of the order type guy. 0-1 delivery. Off speed, way up high and away. 1-1. Some things don't change in this game. In the 3rd out of a ball game, getting it is hard, period.
Dunjidi can run. He got the ability to steal a base.
Ground ball to second base. Romano. That's it. Get the force out. And that'll end it. So Team USA wins it 3-2, 3-7-0. The world 2-9-0.
Now, Jim Rice got all of his pitchers in the ball game, and Mark Buehrle had an interesting 8th inning when he faced 3 batters, had a pickoff, gave up a 1-out triple and stranded that runner. But overall, the pitching was pretty dominant here today, Peter.
It was, as we talked about during the broadcast, a lot of very good looking left-handers with Sabathia and Anderson and Zito and Buehrle and George, all American League left-handers. The last 5 or 6 years, the percentage of games started by left-handers had dropped more than 50% in the American League. So maybe we're starting to see something change around, and maybe we'll start to see a little bit of a change in the offensive domination in 2 or 3 years when these guys can start to pitch in the big leagues.
So Mike Buehrle gets the win, Carlos Hernandez the loss, and Chris George will pick up the save in this game. And Sean Burroughs has come away with the MVP of this 2000 Futures game as he delivered 3 base hits in the ball game, 3 singles, scored a run. He and Josh Hamilton had outstanding games. Hamilton also picked up 3 hits. Our final score for the year 2000 USA, their Futures team 3 and the World 2. Don't forget ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, the final in the matchup Subway Series, the Yankees and the Mets. Coming up next, Sports Center, all the day's news, and there's lots of it. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. Great to have had you with us here in Atlanta. For Buck Martinez, Peter Gammons, and Harold Reynolds, I'm Gary Thorne. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Part of the All-Star 2000 Extravaganza, our Futures game, the USA 3 and the World 2. Here at ESPN, a lot more to come from Atlanta through Tuesday's All-Star game. Thanks for joining us.